9 months of pregnancy, I was dragged into a dead alley and tortured for a day and a night on the way to an OB/GYN appointment. When I was found, the fetus and the placenta had been expelled, and the ground was covered in blood. My husband, Ethan Thompson, didn't answer my calls for help because he was at a business dinner/obligation, and he cried with remorse. Dad immediately gathered famous doctors throughout the city and ordered them to arrange surgery for me immediately, and ordered the perpetrators to be caught and severely punished. On the way to the hospital, I vaguely heard my husband and Dad whispering, "Dad, wasn't it too cruel for us to hire someone to punish Isabella Izzy Smith? I know you wanted to vent Autumn Johnson's anger and cause Isabella Izzy Smith to miscarry, but there was no need to have her defiled. She finally acknowledged you as her father, your only biological daughter." Dad covered my stomach with his suit and wiped the blood from my face. "Isabella Izzy Smith is suppressing her younger sister Autumn Johnson in every way. If we don't do this, she won't realize her mistake. Besides, Autumn Johnson is also pregnant with your child. The Thompson family can only have one heir, and it must be the child in Autumn Johnson's belly. As for Isabella Izzy Smith, I'll just take care of her for the rest of her life." My whole body was ice cold, and tears streamed down my face. My heart ached beyond description. I thought I was so lucky in my life to have met a good husband and found my long-lost biological father, a happy family. It turned out that all of this was just my wishful thinking. A doctor hurriedly brought a surgical consent form. "The patient is hemorrhaging and has been delayed for a night. She must have surgery immediately. Family members, please sign your names quickly." But my father casually tossed the form aside. "What's the rush? Mr. M.O., your daughter's condition is not optimistic. If she doesn't have surgery, she cowl die at any moment. Besides, the fetus is stuck in her lower body, and severe suffocation will be unavoidable." The doctor was also getting anxious. My father glared at him with a displeased expression. "Don't forget, I'm the one who invited you here. What I say goes, and you just follow my orders." The doctor had no choice but to look at my husband, Ethan Thompson, for his opinion. Ethan Thompson looked at my miserable state on the operating table and felt a pang of fear. "Dad, the doctor said the fetus is still alive. If we don't operate, we could lose both mother and child. If the fetus is alive, won't it compete with Autumn Johnson's child for the family fortune in the future? To avoid a tragedy, we have to make this decision: save the adult, sacrifice the child. With Isabella Izzy Smith gone, she won't have any extravagant desires for the Thompson family's property in the future. Maybe she can even accept Autumn Johnson and treat Autumn Johnson's child as her own." Ethan Thompson was persuaded. "You're right." My father was very satisfied with Ethan Thompson's attitude and immediately told the doctor, "The surgery will be done tomorrow. If Isabella Izzy Smith wakes up in the meantime, continue the anesthesia. Don't let her know that the child wasn't saved. She shouldn't be emotionally agitated before the surgery." Hearing the sound of receding footsteps, I felt like I was falling into an ice cave. I slowly opened my eyes, and tears flowed like a burst dam. My lower body was in pain, but it was overshadowed by the pain in my chest. That father, whom I had always been so proud of and admired, was the executioner who personally killed my child. He had spared no effort in searching for me for so many years, and after we reunited, he announced to the world that I was his most beloved daughter. He showered me with love and gave me the care I had never received in the first half of my life. It turned out that all he had done was to numb me so that my non-blue, dear-related sister, Autumn Johnson, could successfully bear a child for Ethan Thompson. But I was most disappointed in my husband, Ethan Thompson. He kept saying that he only treated Autumn Johnson like a sister, but behind my back, they were messing around together, and she was pregnant with his child. The two men I cherished most were now hurting me for the sake of an outsider, and even wanted to ruthlessly deprive me of the child I had carried for 9 months of pregnancy. Thinking of this, I slammed my head against the headboard in anger. The loud noise caught the doctor's attention, and he immediately called for Dad and my husband. Dad quickly wiped away my tears with a tissue. His pained expression made it impossible for me to tell whether he was sincere or not. "Honey, did you wake up because of the pain? Don't be afraid, Dad will always be by your side." He squeezed my hand, and a tear squeezed from his eye, landing right on the back of my hand, but I couldn't feel any warmth. Ethan Thompson's eyes were red, and he gazed at me affectionately, choking with emotion. "Honey, just hang in there a little longer. The doctor will be here soon to operate on you, and our child will be born safely." The two men cried sadly, and the nurse beside them was also moved and began to sob. But the more hypocritical they were, the more my heart ached. I couldn't tell if they were acting or if they were feeling sorry for me. If they wanted to hurt me, why did they have to give me affection? At Ethan Thompson's urging, the nurse prepared to give me anesthesia. I looked at Dad. "Dad, do you love me?" Dad was stunned, and a trace of guilt flashed in his eyes. I looked at Ethan Thompson again. "Will our baby be born safely after I wake up?" He lowered his head and didn't dare to look at me. I gave a bitter smile and turned my head away so they wouldn't see me crying. Dad gently stroked my hair and comforted me. "Isabella Izzy Smith, your dad's most beloved daughter. If I don't love you, who else can I love? Your mom left home in anger because Dad accidentally lost you back then. From now on, it'll just be us, father and daughter, relying on each other. Don't think so much, just get some sleep." I nodded as if resigned to my fate. The moment the nurse lifted my skirt, she screamed, and the whole person backed away in shock, covering her mouth and unable to speak. My husband glanced at the wound, rushed to the corner, and vomited, his face pale. He had never seen such a terrifying wound. Seeing his disgusted expression, I dug my fingernails deep into my palms until they drew blood. Those thugs were cruel and perverted, and the dozens of hours of torture had already left me in despair. I was in so much pain that I was dying, but no matter how much I begged for mercy, they wouldn't let me go. Now, the dried blood on my body made the wound even more hideous, and Ethan Thompson didn't even dare to look at me. The nurse was crying. "Sister, you must have been in so much pain back then." I couldn't help but shed tears of blood. Even though I had once walked into the abyss of hell, those two culprits still refused to let me go. I felt hopeless, and the taut string in my heart was completely broken by Ethan Thompson and Dad's whispers outside the room. Ethan Thompson was pulled out by my father, who questioned him about his strange reaction just now. "What was that just now?" Faced with Dad's question, Ethan Thompson couldn't explain, and finally asked, "Dad, Isabella Izzy Smith is already in such a terrible state, are we still going to turn ashes into a ceramic doll?" Dad said to him decisively, "The fortune teller said that Autumn Johnson's child will have a bloody disaster when he is 3 years old, and we have to use the ashes of a close blood relative to make a clay figure to ward off the disaster. Wouldn't Isabella Izzy Smith's child be perfect?" My heart was twisted like a knife, and I trembled all over with pain. The two men who said they loved me the most were plotting to give me a fatal blow. They even wanted to grind my child's bones into ashes. I wanted to struggle, but the anesthetic was just starting to take effect. When I woke up the next day, I found that the placenta from my lower body had been taken away. I grabbed the nurse tightly and asked about my child, just as Dad and Ethan Thompson walked in. Seeing my emotional state, Ethan Thompson desperately hugged me. "Where's my child?" Faced with my question, Ethan Thompson stammered for a long time and couldn't say a word, avoiding my gaze. Dad glared at him with disdain, took my hand, and explained, "The baby is fine, it's a girl. The doctor said the baby's body isn't very well, so she's staying in the incubator in the ICU for a while to be observed." Don't get too emotional. But I didn't believe a word he said. I had even guessed the child's fate. At that moment, my heart was dead. Just then, my cell phone vibrated. Messages kept popping up in the firm group. Someone sent a video. In the video, my dearest father and husband were celebrating Autumn Johnson's birthday. Under the witness of a group of employees, the three of them were together eating candles and cake, looking very happy. The employees in the group were talking about it. The chairman and the young lady have a really good relationship. They've been celebrating birthday for her for so many years. That's right. I feel like Mr. Thompson and Miss Mo are more like a couple. I saw Mr. Thompson giving Miss Mo an expensive new necklace, while that Isabella Izzy Smith doesn't look like a rich lady at all. Have you heard? It's spreading outside that Isabella Izzy Smith had an affair while she was pregnant, and as a result, she had a miscarriage and was hospitalized. She couldn't even save the child. No way. Where did you hear such big gossip? The warmth in the video and the malice in the comments pierced my eyes. My heart ached so much that my vision went BL. And I almost fainted. Ethan Thompson explained with a guilty conscience, "Honey, don't misunderstand. It was Autumn Johnson's birthday last night, and I just happened to be back at the workplace/office for a meeting, and I was pulled over." He gave Dad a look, and Dad immediately gave a tacit understanding. Yes, it was Autumn Johnson's birthday, and Ethan Thompson just happened to be there. Then he scolded Ethan Thompson angrily, "Go back and investigate who's spreading rumors and talking nonsense. Isabella Izzy Smith and Autumn Johnson are both my daughters, and there's no such thing as favoring one over the other. Dad is right. I'll punish those employees who spread rumors later." Watching the two of them acting hypocritically, I could only sneer inwardly. No matter how realistic their acting was, it couldn't hide the fact that they had hurt our mother and child. My child was gone, and even my career was ruined. They had achieved their goal. In this life, I was like a pile of mud, trampled under their feet. I will never forget the scene of those people trampling me under their feet and wantonly trampling on me. No matter how I begged, they pounced on me like hungry wolves. At that moment, how much I wished that my father, my husband, could pull me out of the abyss. But the funny thing was, it would be them who would completely push me into despair and death. When the doctor came over to prepare me for surgery, Dad grabbed the doctor's arm. "Doctor, please be gentle during the surgery. My daughter has been afraid of pain since she was a child. I'm begging you." The doctor looked at me with pity and nodded. "It's my duty as a doctor." The doctor asked Dad and Ethan Thompson to leave the operating room. Dad said to me softly, "Daughter, Dad will be waiting for you outside for a family reunion." Ethan Thompson also gazed at me affectionately. "Honey, Dad and I will be guarding you at all times. We won't go anywhere until you come out." They had said this yesterday too, but didn't they still go to celebrate Autumn Johnson's birthday? Lies become worthless when they're told too many times. A few minutes before the surgery, I lay on the hospital bed and made an overseas call. "Mom, I promise you, I'll go abroad and live with you." After waking up from the surgery, the nurse helped me into a wheelchair and took me to the hospital room. On the way, I ran into three familiar figures. Ethan Thompson put his ear to Autumn Johnson's bulging belly and said to Dad beside him with joy, "Dad, the baby kicked me. It's very strong. It must be a boy. It's better to have a son. Daughters are just expenses." After saying that, Dad stroked Autumn Johnson's head dotingly. "After you have your OB/GYN appointment later, just stay in the hospital room and focus on taking care of yourself. Dad will take care of everything for you, and I'll also take care of anyone and anything that poses a threat to you." Looking at this warm scene, I smiled self-deprecatingly. The person Dad mentioned who was threatening Autumn Johnson was probably me, right? It turned out that in his eyes, I was just a thorn in his side. He and Ethan Thompson abandoned our mother and child so cruelly. Was it just because the child in my belly was a girl? I signaled the nurse to continue pushing me back to the hospital room. Not long after entering, Dad and Ethan Thompson entered the room. The moment they entered, they immediately covered their noses. Their eyes looked at my lower body, which was wrapped in blood-stained gauze, with disgust. Dad was holding a bill in his hand. Isabella Izzy Smith, Dad, and Ethan Thompson just went to pay your bill. I didn't expect the surgery to be so fast. You shouldn't blame us for not waiting for you outside the operating room, right? A folded OB/GYN appointment report was under the bill. Ethan Thompson glanced around the hospital room and called over a nurse. What's going on? How can you arrange such a bad room for my wife? We anteed a private room. The nurse quickly explained, Mr. Carter, I'm sorry, the hospital rooms are too tight, so Mrs. Carter has to be wronged. Ethan Thompson was furious and vented his anger on the nurse. Dad also took out his cell phone and questioned the hospital. I looked at their anxious appearance indifferently and only felt ironic. I didn't care for their late and false concern. Dad, this place is fine. Don't make a fuss. I have a headache. Hearing that I had a headache, Dad immediately became nervous and rubbed my temples for me, saying with concern, it's not that Dad is worried that you're not used to living here. You just had surgery and need a good environment to recuperate. I remained silent. As soon as the nurse left, the door was pushed open, and Autumn Johnson appeared at the door. Dad and Ethan Thompson immediately became nervous. Autumn Johnson, this place is dirty and messy. How can you come here? Go back to your room and wait for your delivery. Autumn Johnson just smiled. Dad, brother-in-law, the private luxury hospital suite is nice, but it's too stuffy and boring. Besides, I heard my sister is about to give birth, and I want to see her too. Look, I've prepared toys for my niece. Dad's face changed when he heard this. What nonsense are you talking about? Your sister. Before he could speak, Autumn Johnson suddenly cried out in pain. Dad and Ethan Thompson panicked and rushed out to find a doctor. Autumn Johnson, who had been in pain the second before, casually pulled up a chair and sat beside my bed. She placed the clay figure in her hand on my stomach. Little niece, Auntie brought you a toy. Do you like it? I looked at the ceramic doll in her hand and clenched the bed sheet tightly with my fingers. Since I reunited with Dad, Autumn Johnson had been trying to frame me, but I had never let her succeed. I didn't believe she didn't know what I had gone through. She was just doing this to get revenge on me. But my eyes were glued to the clay figure in her hand. Seeing me staring at the ceramic doll in her hand without blinking, Autumn Johnson chuckled. Sister, you like this ceramic doll too, right? It's so cute, with two little braids. It was rushed out this morning. Do you like it? I wanted to grab it with tears in my eyes, but Autumn Johnson deliberately avoided me. Oh, I almost forgot. Sister's child is gone. That's so pitiful. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stimulate you. She looked at my disheveled appearance, looking very pleased. Tisk, TSK, sister, you were so radiant before, beautiful, with a good temperament, and countless men were chasing you, but why are you so embarrassed now? I looked at her coldly. Give it back to me. Autumn Johnson held the clay figure in the air, ready to let go. Kneel and beg me, and I'll give it to you. Beg you? Who do you think you are? Just an orphan my father adopted. Autumn Johnson was enraged by being touched on her sore spot. She punched me in the lower abdomen. The more pain I was in, the more excited she became. So what? Dad still loves me the most, not you. Not only does Dad like me, but even my brother-in-law likes me. Oh, whose child do you think is in my belly? I forgot to tell you, I'm not an orphan, I'm Dad's illegitimate daughter. Your mom wanted to leave Dad back then because she found out about Dad and my mom. Now, you're the unwanted bastard. Oh, And the hospital rooms are indeed tight. Dad and brother-in-law specially reserved the only VIP private room for me. I glared at her. You won't have a good ending. Autumn Johnson didn't care. Hee hee, how does it feel to be ravaged? It hurts to lose a child, right? I don't mind telling you, all of this was planned by Dad and your husband. However, there's one thing that everyone is kept in the dark about. The fortune teller Dad met was hired by me. I know Dad believes in these things. It was also I who asked the fortune teller to mention the ceramic doll to Dad. Isabella is. Z.Y. Smith, you're so pitiful. I'll give your daughter back to you now. After saying that, she let go, and the ceramic doll fell from the air. No! Ignoring the excruciating pain of my wound tearing, I lunged forward to catch the clay figure, but it was too late. The clay figure landed on the ground and shattered into pieces, and the ashes inside were scattered on the ground. I fell to the ground, enduring the pain from the bleeding wound, and tried to gather the ashes. But Autumn Johnson stepped on the back of my hand with one foot and deliberately kicked over the ashes I had managed to gather in my palm with the other. My heart ached so much that I couldn't breathe, and I pushed her away. The noise just now was too loud, and Dad and Ethan Thompson outside the door came in when they heard the news. Hearing the sound of the door opening, Autumn Johnson immediately pretended to fall to the ground and picked up a piece of broken pottery from the ground to cut her wrist, leaving a bloody mark. Dad and Ethan Thompson entered the room just in time, and their expressions changed drastically when they saw her. Daughter! What's wrong with you? Doctor! Call a doctor quickly! Dad roared and helped Autumn Johnson up from the ground. Ethan Thompson ran out again to call for a doctor. In their eyes, there was only Autumn Johnson, and they didn't notice that I had fallen to the ground, and the blood from my lower body kept gushing out, staining the ground red. Autumn Johnson looked at me provocatively, then cried aggrievedly. Dad, I didn't mean to break the clay figure. I don't know why my sister would be so angry. She pushed me and wasn't satisfied, so she cut my wrist with a piece of pottery. It hurts so much. Dad comforted her in his arms with heartache, then glared at me. You're her sister. How can you be so vicious? How can you be so cruel to your sister? You lost your child. Why do you have to involve innocent people? After Ethan Thompson came in, he checked Autumn Johnson for other injuries as soon as possible, and then scolded me coldly. Isabella Izzy Smith. How did I not realize you were so malicious before? She's still pregnant. Aren't you afraid of retribution for doing this? The two men who were once closest to me pinned me on the pillar of shame for harming my sister for the sake of the same woman and criticized me together. After the doctor arrived, he immediately treated Autumn Johnson's wound, but Dad and Ethan Thompson were worried that her fall just now would affect the fetus, so they strongly demanded to accompany her for a comprehensive examination. The two carefully supported Autumn Johnson, completely ignoring my life and death. The blood kept flowing, the tears had dried, and there was only numbness in my heart. They and I, we were finally strangers, and we would never see each other again in this life. I forwarded the secretly recorded video and audio to the firm group, and I received a call from a stranger. Miss, the car is downstairs, and the people you were looking for have been caught. We've brought them here. In addition, we've arranged for people to investigate what you ordered before. Dad and Ethan Thompson were relieved when the doctor said that Autumn Johnson's fetus was very healthy and her wrist was just a superficial wound that didn't hurt her blood vessels. At this time, the assistant ran over in a hurry. Mr. Smith, something bad has happened. Miss Isabella Izzy Smith she. Dad frowned when he heard my name and interrupted the assistant. What kind of trouble is Isabella Izzy Smith trying to cause again? Does she think I don't dare to kick her out of the house? But the next second, his tone softened. Ethan Thompson, Isabella Izzy Smith is your wife after all, and she's just gone through those things. She's very vulnerable. Go and comfort her. Ethan Thompson nodded. I was a little harsh just now, I'll go and coax her now. But the assistant suddenly became anxious. No, no, no. Miss Isabella Izzy Smith posted something in the group. She left a resignation letter and a divorce agreement in the hospital room, and she's been discharged. Also, just received news that our firm's stock has suddenly plummeted. Dad frowned when he heard the assistant's words. What nonsense are you talking about? Isabella Izzy Smith has been staying in the hospital. Where can she go when her body is so weak after her surgery? As soon as he finished speaking, Autumn Johnson sneered. Dad, brother-in-law, sister is incorrigible. She's been tortured like this, but she still doesn't forget to make trouble. I think her leaving is fake. She's just trying to make you nervous about her. This sister of mine has been scheming since she was a child, and her tricks are endless. She pushed me and hurt me just now, and if one trick doesn't work, she'll come up with another one. I think you should just ignore her, and when she reflects on herself and her body can't take it anymore, she'll naturally come back. Ethan Thompson frowned when he heard this. Your sister isn't that kind of person. She's the most innocent. That's why I liked her in the first place. Brother-in-law, you can know a person's face but not their heart. Shut up. She's your sister. How can you say that about her? Dad shouted and stopped Autumn Johnson's sarcasm. The more Ethan Thompson thought about it, the more uneasy he felt, especially when he heard the words divorce agreement. He was very surprised. He pushed the assistant away and headed straight for the hospital room. Dad paused and followed him, jogging over. Seeing Dad and Ethan Thompson panicking as soon as they heard my name, Autumn Johnson bit her lip unwillingly. She had an idea and deliberately fell to the ground. Dad, brother-in-law, my stomach hurts. She thought the two would immediately turn around and care about her, but what she got in return was Dad's indifferent look back and cold scolding. You're such a big pea. Son, how can you fall while standing? After saying this, Dad hurried to the hospital room. The two lingered outside the hospital room door, looking forward to seeing me lying quietly in the hospital room to welcome them. But when they entered the door, they saw that the bed was empty, and the quilt on it was folded neatly. Dad touched the bed sheet, and it was cold without a trace of warmth. He realized that I had been gone for a long time, and his face became visibly panicked. He grabbed the nurse who was checking the hospital rooms and roared, "Where's the patient in this bed?" The nurse was startled by his red eyes, checked the records, and quickly replied to him. Sir, the patient completed the discharge procedures half an hour ago. Ethan Thompson was furious and slammed the table hard. What's wrong with your hospital? Don't you have to notify the patient's family when such a big thing as being discharged happens? If something happens to the patient, can you take responsibility? The nurse could only let the two of them get angry and didn't know anything. Dad had no choice but to ask the patients in the beds next door, but everyone ignored him and remained silent. One of the patient's family members, a young girl, couldn't help but sneer when she saw them looking anxious. You know how to be nervous now? When that sister fell to the ground just now, why didn't you look nervous? You have eyes but can't tell right from wrong. Facing the sarcasm, Dad suppressed his temper. Little girl, did you see her leave? The little girl replied to him while playing on her cell phone. Of course, she was crying so sadly. Who didn't see it here? I'm just too lazy to pay attention to you. You guys are something. One is her father, and the other is her husband. When she left, the lower half of her hospital gown was all blood, but you pretended not to see it for that scheming pregnant woman. That sister's desperate look when she was collecting the pottery shards was heart-breaking to watch. Dad's vision went black when he heard this, and he almost couldn't stand. Ethan Thompson's face was pale, and even his lips were trembling. Dad, the clay figure, Isabella Izzy Smith, doesn't know about the child, does she? Dad didn't dare to imagine the terrible consequences of this result. He still shook his head with a glimmer of hope. No, Only you, me, and Autumn Johnson know about this. How would Isabella Izzy Smith know about the clay figure? Maybe she just wanted to go out for some fresh air and will be back soon. Ethan Thompson noticed a folder on the table and pulled out 2 documents from it, just like the assistant said. One was a resignation letter, and the other was a divorce agreement. Seeing my signature on them, Ethan Thompson squatted down and cried, losing all composure. Dad, Izzy is gone. She's leaving us. Father snatched the documents and only believed it was real when he saw my handwriting with his own eyes. No, no, this must be Izzy's prank. Didn't she mention resignation before when she was throwing a tantrum? Autumn is right, she just wants to make us nervous. Seeing the surveillance camera in the distance, Father suddenly remembered something. Quick, go to the security room and get the surveillance footage. See who Izzy left with. Ethan Thompson hurried to the security room, and when he returned, he was ashen-faced. Father saw his terrified expression and quickly pressed him. What's wrong? Dad, Izzy was taken away by the people we hired back then. What? Father staggered back at the news, looking utterly incredulous. His hands trembled uncontrollably as he muttered, Impossible. Didn't we pay them a sum of money to disappear for a year or 2? How dare they come back and kidnap my daughter? His roar echoed through the hallway. Ethan Thompson was filled with remorse, constantly grabbing his hair, his fingers digging into his scalp, drawing blood as if only this could alleviate his pain. Dad, what do we do? These people are vicious criminals. What if they do something to Izzy again? Izzy's body can't take any more abuse. Father covered his face, looking lost and distraught. After forcing himself to calm down, he instructed Ethan Thompson, Find her. Find her quickly. No matter what it takes, no matter how much money it costs, find my daughter. Should we call the police? Father slapped Ethan Thompson hard across the face. Do you want the whole city to know about this? How could you be so stupid? I don't know what I was thinking when I agreed to you being with Autumn, hurting Izzy. Ethan Thompson lowered his head, a flash of displeasure in his eyes, but he still suppressed his anger. At that moment, Autumn Johnson walked over, cradling her stomach. Dad, how can you blame Ethan? If you have to blame someone, blame my sister. It's her fault for not giving Ethan a son. Didn't you say that once I give birth to a son, my child will inherit both the Mo and Carter firm's businesses? Father glanced at Autumn Johnson, a sneer on his lips. So that's what you're after? How did you become like this? Blinded by greed. I was good to you because I felt indebted to your mom. Your mom was a single mom and also an employee of my company. When you were only 1 year old, we encountered a vicious robbery while out negotiating a contract. Your mom took a knife for me. It was too late when she was sent to the hospital. Before she died, she entrusted me to take care of you. So, all these years, I've been accommodating you, complying with you, just to repay a debt of gratitude. You wouldn't be naive enough to think you're my daughter, would you? I've never acknowledged you as my daughter. Don't forget your place. Autumn Johnson's pupils dilated when she heard this. She never imagined that the identity she had always been so proud of was just a misunderstanding. Dad, you must be saying this because you're distraught over my sister's departure, right? She grabbed Father's arm tightly, but he ruthlessly shook her off. I don't have time to joke with you. Don't stop me from finding my daughter. As soon as Father left, Ethan Thompson was also preparing to rush back to the workplace to gather people. Autumn Johnson pinned her only hope on Ethan Thompson, hugging him tightly from behind. Brother-in-law, Ethan, you won't abandon me like Dad, will you? After all, we're husband and wife. But to her surprise, Ethan Thompson broke free from her embrace and slapped her across the face. How can you be so shameless, you stupid woman? Who's husband and wife with you? Izzy is the only one in my heart from beginning to end. I listened to your lies and hired people to teach Izzy a lesson, saying she was messing around with other men and pregnant with someone else's child, but I later hired a private investigator to investigate, and there was no such thing. Autumn Johnson couldn't believe that the man closest to her was denying his relationship with her. Then what about the fetus in my belly? Ethan Thompson smiled contemptuously. How do I know if it's mine? If you hadn't deliberately seduced me to drink, how could I have gotten drunk? I rarely get drunk, but I was dead drunk that night. You must have tampered with the alcohol. Autumn Johnson was hit again. It's not like that, brother-in-law. She wanted to hug Ethan Thompson, but he didn't give her the chance. Get lost. I feel disgusted just looking at you. Don't stop me from finding my wife. Watching the two closest people leave, Autumn Johnson gritted her teeth with hatred. Why do you all favor my useless sister? What kind of magic does she have that makes you treat her like this? I don't believe you don't love me. Since you want to protect her, I won't let you get what you want. As soon as I got off the plane, I couldn't help but cry when I saw Mom. Mom dismissed her assistant and took the wheelchair from her hands, personally pushing me into the car. In the car, the two of us, mother and daughter, hugged each other and wept. She held my cold hand, sobbing uncontrollably. That bastard, what has he been doing all these years? How could he let you suffer such inhumane things? Don't worry, I won't let anyone who bullied you get away with it. Mom's tone was filled with undisguised murderous intent, but I no longer felt any anger. Mom, don't mention it. I'll stay by your side from now on, and we'll depend on each other. Mom wiped away her tears and nodded. After you were lost, Mom left your dad and went abroad to rely on your grandpa, but I've been looking for you all along. Later, when I learned that you had reunited with your dad's parents, I immediately sent someone to pick you up and take you abroad, but you kept refusing me. If you had agreed to come here earlier. I patted her hand to comfort her. I'm here now, aren't I? Your grandma and grandpa were so happy to hear you were coming that they couldn't sleep for days. They also said that once you recover, they'll hand over the family business to you to manage. Mom has already hired the most famous doctors in the country to reschedule your surgery and hired a professional nursing team to take care of you. Don't worry, you will be healthier than before. At that moment, the assistant in the passenger seat handed over a tablet. Chairman, the surveillance footage from the hospital in the United States has been sent over. Would you like to take a look? Mom handed me the tablet. After watching the whole process, I didn't feel anything about Father and Ethan Thompson's sudden change of heart. But when I saw Autumn Johnson still plotting against me in the footage, a burst of anger still burned in my chest. I didn't expect her to be so vicious. Just as I was wondering how she would deal with me, my cell phone immediately vibrated. As soon as I opened it, a video was spreading everywhere, and it was trending. When I opened the video, I was so angry that I almost blew my top. The woman in the video was naked, entangled with several men. What shocked me was that the woman looked exactly like me. The comments below were even more vulgar and disgusting. Wow, so explosive? I haven't seen anything this hot before. What's this chick's name? I'm going to meet her and let her know what I'm capable of. Can one brother do it alone? Take me with you. Someone had doxed my information, including my name, ID number, and even my cell phone number. In an instant, my cell phone was flooded with calls. Even Father sent me a message, scolding me with a disappointed tone. Izzy, even if you left in a fit of pique, you don't have to humiliate yourself like this. Ethan Thompson called me more than a dozen times, but I didn't answer. He also sent a voice message on social media. Honey, what's the point? I know you're doing this to punish me, but there's no need to use such extreme measures. Mom couldn't help but scream when she saw this. What's going on? I quickly clarified. Mom, someone is using AI to create a synthetic video to ruin my reputation. Mom believed me without hesitation and immediately ordered people to take down the trending topic and have the major media outlets remove the video. But Autumn Johnson wouldn't rest until she ruined me and released another video, sparking public outrage again. It was the video of me being abused, the bloody scenes reminding me of that nightmarish experience. I trembled with fear, and Mom immediately hugged me, ordering the assistant in a stern voice, "Quick! Get the video banned, find out who started this, and make her regret being born into this world." Back at the villa, Grandpa and Grandma greeted me personally. When they learned that someone was smearing me, he smashed his cane in anger. Outrageous! How dare anyone insult my granddaughter? Go! Get me the PR team and the legal team. After arranging everything, Grandpa patted the back of my hand and said to me with a kind smile, "Child, don't be afraid. This is your safe harbor. Your grandma, grandpa, and mom will protect you with their lives. No one dares to bully you. I won't let your dad, husband, or the person who smeared you get away with it. Also, I've had those thugs who participated in your abuse sent to Mexico. Their fate will be terrible. Focus on your surgery." From beginning to end, Mom and Grandpa didn't mention my lost child, fearing that I would be traumatized. I was moved to tears. The next day, I went into the operating room again for surgery. The doctor said that it was fortunate that I was sent over in time because the previous delay in treatment had caused a serious infection in the wound. If I didn't have surgery again, it could affect my fertility. After the surgery, Mom sent me to a private sanatorium for the highest standard of care. The doctor was worried that I would be traumatized and disturbed, so he forbade me from contacting the outside world and even confiscated my cell phone. For a month, my body had recovered almost completely, and because I had received psychological counseling, I was much happier than before. A month later, Mom came to visit me, and I learned that the previous controversy had subsided. The PR team found someone to clarify that the first video was AI generated and found the original video for comparison. They also released the surveillance footage from the hospital hallway. At the same time, a new video also attracted attention. In the video, Autumn Johnson was hitting my stomach in the hospital room, staging a melodramatic performance. The person who posted the video was the girl who was in the same hospital room as me. She was angry that I was being slandered and framed. With the previous clarification and evidence, netizens took it for granted and assumed that the second video was also AI generated. The PR team named Autumn Johnson as the mastermind behind all of this and published all the bad things she had done online, causing an uproar of condemnat. Ion online. This bitch. She's pregnant and still can't stop, actually using such dirty tricks to slander someone to steal someone else's husband. What's wrong with being young and doing something else? She has to be a mistress. It seems like she's been a mistress to several men before. Shameless. This family is something. The biological father colluded with the adopted daughter and son-in-law to harm his daughter. I feel so sad for that little girl. It's so unlucky to be born into such a family. The public outrage grew, and netizens were filled with righteous indignation, starting to attack Father's company and smash Father and Ethan Thompson's cars. The hospital received a warning from Grandpa's legal team, and coupled with the public outrage, to avoid being implicated, the hospital decided to kick Autumn Johnson out and refused to take her in. She went to several hospitals, but they all refused. Autumn Johnson cursed the hospitals for being black-hearted. With childbirth imminent, Autumn Johnson had no choice but to kneel in front of the gates of various hospitals, begging people to take her into the delivery room, but she was met with other pregnant women's glares and ruthless scolding. "A vicious woman like you shouldn't come here to harm other pregnant women. Bad luck. Get out of here." Autumn Johnson couldn't stand it and argued with people on the spot. Why? Why can Isabella Izzy Smith be carefree? My child is innocent. Let me in. No matter how she acted like a madwoman, the hospital just refused to let her in, and she was greeted with leftovers, excrement, and brickbats. Even the shareholders of Father's firm withdrew their investments, the contracts that had been signed were cancelled, and the bank came to collect debts, threatening to take legal action if the money wasn't repaid. The firm's stock price even plummeted, and the shareholders were complaining, clamoring for Father to step down. Father was so worried that he went white overnight, constantly calling and texting me. Daughter, where are you? Father misses you. Come back. Ethan Thompson was even given a death threat and hid at home, afraid to go out, constantly sending voice messages of repentance, begging for my forgiveness. Honey, Dad and I bought plane tickets overnight. We want to see you and apologize to you in person. The next day, someone had a conflict with the security guards outside the sanatorium. The nurse found me, and I learned that the people arguing were Father and Ethan Thompson. Originally, I didn't want to pay attention, but they looked like they wouldn't give up until they saw me. In order not to affect others, I had no choice but to meet them. Separated by the fence, I saw that Father's hair was white, his eyes were sunken, and he looked very depressed. Ethan Thompson wasn't doing any better. He was skinny, his eyes were bloodshot, and it looked like he hadn't slept for days. When he saw me, he threw himself at the fence and cried bitterly. Honey, you're finally willing to see me. I miss you so much. Although Father wasn't as distraught, he was also shedding tears. Izzy, Father was wrong. At first, I thought those people would only scare you, but I didn't expect them to do such outrageous things. After seeing the hospital room surveillance footage, Father realized that I had wronged you that day. All of this was Autumn's intention to sow discord between us. Can you forgive Father? Father is kneeling to beg you. He knelt on both knees, looking at the ground. Ethan Thompson followed suit and knelt. Yes, honey, Dad didn't mean to treat you like that. It's all that bitch's fault. Dad and I were just confused for a moment. Please forgive us. Hearing them gloss over the matter so lightly, I sneered repeatedly. Confused? Forgive? Haven't you done enough confusing things? You hurt me so badly. How can you still be so shameless and say you want me to forgive you? If I forgive you, will my child come back? My question left Father speechless, and he lowered his head even further. Ethan Thompson hesitated and didn't dare to meet my angry gaze. He struggled for a long time before choking back tears and saying, Honey, what happened between me and Autumn Johnson was just an accident. Come back with us. Let's start over as a family. I'll be good to you. We can have children again in the future. I want you. If it weren't for the fence, I would have torn off his hypocritical face. How dare he mention the word? At that moment, a Lincoln Navigator stopped at the gate, and Mom got out of the car. Father was shocked to see her. Wife! What are you doing here? Do you know how hard I've been looking for you all these years? He wanted to approach, but Mom's bodyguard stopped him. Mom spat at him. Pa, who's your wife? A scumbag like you isn't fit to call me that. Back then, you were having an affair with that female employee. Do you think I didn't know? Although the bastard in her belly isn't yours, it's a fact that you cheated. Get out of here. Don't defile my daughter's eyes. A person like you doesn't deserve to be a parent. Mom, I'm Izzy's husband, your son-in-law. Ethan Thompson wanted to greet Mom, but Mom picked up her high heel and threw it at him. Don't shout. I have nothing to do with you, and my daughter is already divorced from you. Go back to where you belong. Mom had the bodyguards drive the two away. Father still wanted to fight for it, but Mom had the bodyguards beat him to the ground. Subsequently, Mom called the police and reported that Father and Ethan Thompson had entered the country for illegal transactions. The two were taken away by the police and forcibly deported. After Mom took me home, Grandma personally cooked for me, preparing a table full of my favorite dishes. After wandering for half my life, I finally felt true warmth at this moment. For a while, my body completely recovered. Grandpa held a press conference to announce our relationship and announced within the firm that I would be taking over as the new president. Mom also spared no effort to use the resources at her disposal to attack Father's firm. I thought I would never have anything to do with Father and Ethan Thompson again, until one day, Father suddenly video called me. In the video, he was disheveled, looking like he had aged more than a decade. Ethan Thompson was in even worse shape. One of his hands was gone, his eyes were dull, and his face was full of gloom. Izzy, Father is bankrupt, and Ethan lost a hand in an attack. Can you forgive Father now? He still intended to seek my forgiveness. When I thought of my poor child, whose ashes couldn't even be collected after death, my eyes were filled with hatred. Forgive? Wishful thinking. Father seemed to have already known this result. Father will tell you something. Because no hospital was willing to take her in, Autumn gave birth to her child in a garbage dump. I'll bring her over for you to see. Ethan Thompson very tacitly grabbed Autumn Johnson's hair and dragged her in front of the camera. In the camera, Autumn Johnson's pupils dilated, and she pleaded in terror. Father, brother-in-law, I was wrong. Don't hurt me and the child. Please. Ethan Thompson turned a deaf ear to her pleas and grinned at the camera. Honey, I know this bitch harmed you in the beginning. I'm punishing her to vent your anger. He raised his hand and slashed Autumn Johnson's face with a knife. Ah! A heart-wrenching scream echoed through the dark, damp room. Brother-in-law, I know I was wrong. It hurts. Sister, please, tell Father and brother-in-law not to hurt me. I'm kneeling to you. Autumn Johnson kowtowed heavily, her forehead was smashed, and she was still kowtowing non-stop. But Ethan Thompson frantically grabbed her hair and continued to slash her face. Seeing this, I didn't feel any sense of revenge. Nor did I show any pity for Autumn Johnson. The wicked will only be punished by the wicked. An Unchang. ING truth. Seeing that I still hadn't forgiven him, Father poured gasoline on a box. Daughter, Autumn is the one who made you so miserable. She's also the one who turned us against each other. A blood debt must be paid in blood. I'll help you get revenge and let Autumn taste the pain of losing a child. Hearing this, Autumn Johnson roared hysterically, no. She broke free from Ethan Thompson, picked up a kitchen knife, and rushed over. I wasn't interested in watching them fight like dogs, so I turned off the video and blacklisted them completely. The next day, while I was using my cell phone to handle electronic official business, a news alert popped up. A major criminal case had occurred in a dilapidated, run-down house in the country. The scene was very tragic, with blood and signs of burning everywhere. Although the bodies in the pictures were blurred, I still recognized them. Father had been slashed in the forehead with a knife. Ethan Thompson had his other hand cut off, and his abdomen was cut open, eventually dying from excessive blood loss. The other two bodies were charred, one large and one small. Although I couldn't see their faces, I still recognized the pearl necklace that hadn't been completely burned on the bodies, which was the one I gave to Autumn Johnson as a birthday gift back then. Director Wren, the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the branch is about to begin. Everyone is waiting for you. The assistant came over and interrupted my thoughts. I smiled and then walked into the ribbon-cutting ceremony under the spotlight. After taking over the firm, I changed my original surname to Moms Wren and started a new life. The sun was shining brightly. My past, like the red cloth cut by the scissors in my hand, was completely severed. Half a lifetime of wandering, no regrets for the rest of my life. Prepare my Grandpa Hudson and Grandma Hudson's Hudson family burial plot, set off firecrackers around the graves, thanking the ancestors for their blessing. Our family's luck has turned around. She also hired people to level the old house that had been locked for 10 years, rebuild a new house, and first build a 10-foot-high fence. The Grandma Thompson-esque family behind the house could only look at our high fence, stomping their feet in anger. She also invited the mayor to host a 3-day block party, and even the stray cats and dogs at the entrance of the countryside had a table of meat to eat. Only Grandma Thompson-esque family wasn't allowed to sit at the table. Some people discussed, who says girls are inferior to boys? How many years has it been since equality between men and women? My family's daughters will also go to college in the future. Others ridiculed, I don't know what the old young family is thinking, picking up a slut and treating her like a treasure, driving out the capable mother and daughter. Still others gossiped, she can have an affair once during marriage, who knows if she will find another sugar daddy. The word spread more and more, and even Lisa Ford was pointed at when she went out. Later, it was discovered by someone with ulterior motives that she had slept with old Zhang, the slaughter knife at the entrance of the countryside. Dad Thompson caught Lisa Ford red-handed with red eyes, but she dressed calmly and said, "You are incompetent and accuse me of seducing people outside. Didn't you say that about that dead ghost back then?" Lisa Ford's mistake was that she shouldn't have underestimated the explosiveness of an honest man. Dad Thompson, who was completely humiliated, finally picked up the slaughter knife and killed Lisa Ford like he was cutting livestock. Billy, who witnessed his dad killing his mom, completely went crazy. Their family's affairs made the headlines in the news. Dad Thompson and Grandpa Thompson took the S.A. Me path of no return. Grandma Thompson took care of her crazy grandson alone at home and was occasionally subjected to his attacks. It was said that life was unbearable. Mom Hudson and I went to a new city and started our new life. There, Mom Hudson opened a specialty fish restaurant, and the manager was Aunt Miller, formerly Widow Lou. She had been working under Mom Hudson for a long time. From the time the child was lost, Grandpa Thompson was completely arrested, and all the secrets were told to Mom Hudson by Aunt Miller. She was once imprisoned by Grandpa Thompson, who threatened her with his murder of her old father-in-law. Grandpa Thompson certainly didn't expect that 2 women who were treated unfairly by fate would join forces. And the weapon he wanted to control others with became the weapon that killed him. Who can tell about karma? Mom Hudson and Aunt Miller laughed and talked about the past and today, raising their glasses and drinking together. The hurdles that they once thought they couldn't overcome, one day they would laugh about them. Just like what it said in the Shawshank Redemption, suffering is only temporary, and the future is even more promising.